It's like we've always known, been set in stone, unbreakable. It's like I've always dreamed, true harmony, unmistakable, unmistakable.
Hey girls, welcome back to House of Her, episode 3. I'm Molly.
I'm Hollie.
Today we're going to be telling Hollie's story of trauma. We're spilling Hollie's tea on the internet.
Tea again.
Yes.
Actually really nervous.
I know, it is. You've got this in the bag though. It's nerve-wracking at the start, but you got this.
Oh yeah, once I get into it, you won't be able to
shut us up. Yeah, so Hollie's story is different to mine, but has similar impacts. So do you want to just sort of give us a bit of an outline of what happened or where your relationship started?
Yeah, so he was actually a friend of mine, which is how it started.
Remember how it started.
Yeah, which threw me, I think was even more like, just kept me in this bubble.
I can remember even at the time when it first started, you were a bit on edge as to like whether, like what it was going to blossom into because you had been friends before.
Yeah, and it was very hush-hush at the beginning, and I think one thing made it easier that we were friends, and then another side it was made harder because, well, number one, you're overstepping a huge boundary, and you know, it wasn't just any friendship group, it was my best friends.
So it impacted the whole group.
It impacted everything, it changes everything.
It was a big step to take.
It was, yeah, a huge one. But on the other side of it, it was so much easier because, you know, I am a relationship girly. I've, you know, been in relationships, and I hate the whole dating side of it, going then, you know, oh, how are you? Where are you from? You know, where, like, what do you do? Just the small talk. Like,
small talk.
It gives me the ick. I can't bear it. And there was none of that with us. You know, we knew each other. We'd been around each other. And we had similar. You just know someone. You have similar banter. You're from the same area. Your friendship group. So you haven't got any of that awkwardness of having to go and meet new friendship groups and, you know, wondering what is he like with his friends and all of this, you know, it was...
You already knew. And can I actually just say as well, that was a similar thing with me. So my ex was a family friend.
Yes, I was going to say that when you was talking.
And that's puts your guard down.
Oh, instantly.
You instantly trust them because the people that you trust most in the world, your friends and my family, already have great things to say about this person, know them very well and really trust them. So straight away your blinkers are off.
Yeah, and also I thought at the beginning, you know, he knew me. Like, although we was part of a very close friendship group, we've not ever spent loads of, like, he was in a relationship, I was in relationships, but we would always be the ones that would end up single at some point. And we would always be like the third wheel, so if they go in groups, there would be me and him, and we always had a flirty banter, but we'd never been super, super close, but close enough to know each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'd followed each other on social media for years, so he knew my past, he knew what I'd done for work, he knew all of that, because I feel like sometimes you do, like when your life is on social media, you do get a little bit wary of like, oh my God, what's, not that you should, but I mean, maybe that's just how I've become through the relationships, but he knew everything. He'd watched me, he'd seen that I posted in bikini cover-ups, and I share a lot of my life. I've always, like you said, of my life has been, I've built a great social media platform through mums and single mum life and relationships, because I've had a fucking fair few of them.
And you started out, you used to do bikini modelling, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I think I remember when I first met you, which would have been close to when you and him started, I can remember taking a deep dive on your Instagram before and seeing all of your past relationships, because they were all, if you go deep enough down, they're
all there.
Yeah. Do it sick. If you don't even need to tell the story, just go through our thing.
Yeah, just go through my Instagram. But yeah, so he knew everything, like, and I think, you know,
he felt accepted quite quickly.
Yeah,
and
also one thing that I absolutely loved, and I think really, number one, we got on really well. So I remember I split up with my ex before that. And, you know, he'd always come to my birthday parties. He'd always come out for things. I've gone to his parties, and we'd spoke on social media. He had children, and always saw him as what I thought was a brilliant dad. He travelled quite far to see them, and, you know, we always kind of kept in touch through that. And so we'd had conversations, and I can't remember what it was exactly, but one day he messaged me something to a story, and it was just like flirty banter, and you're like,
You remember this
yeah.
time.
And so you kind of, and then we spoke little bits, and almost when it's like something, you know what it's like when something's naughty and you're not meant to do it, you want it even more.
Yeah,
it's like a little thrill, and it was exciting, and it was all hush hush. And I remember he messaged me, and then we started talking, and it was all of this like, oh my God, aren't we? And also I think it was like not a fantasy at the beginning, but it was like
we were going to go somewhere.
Yeah, and it was like we were too scared to make that jump. Yeah, we just got on from the get-go. Like we would message all day, every day, and the conversation never dried. Like it was everything. And I've never had a partner, so this group, everyone is the girls and boys, they're all part of the same friendship group. So they'd go on couples holidays, they'd go out for Christmas Eve together, they'd go out New Year's Eve together, and I always felt a little bit like I was on the outskirts of that, because my partners were never part of that. Although you come in, it's still a bit awkward when that person does. It's not the same. They had this friendship group. So when we, you know, I was thinking, oh my God, this could be amazing. Like me and my best friends were like, this is going to be, like we was literally, couldn't have planned it better. We're going to go, she's my best friend. She's married to his best friend. Like it's going to be amazing. We're going to do these couples holidays. And we just had the best time. Like he literally came in as my best friend. Like I could be totally myself. He supported West Ham. My dad's massive. We had season. We would go to West Ham football. We'd go out partying, and I genuinely just thought, "Oh my God, like I can be myself completely."
That's exactly how I felt.
But on the other side of it, when I look back, is that he almost played this. Maybe it was a game to him. I don't know. One of the downsides of being in a very close friendship group is you also know what he's like with other girls. So I always knew that he was the type of guy that would, you know, almost be in what the girl would perceive as a relationship, but never say they're my girlfriend.
He wouldn't commit.
So he would, everything else would be like, you know, to the girl, you'd probably think you're in a relationship with him, going on holidays, you're doing this, you're doing that. But he would always get away with being able to talk to other people, because it would be like, well, that's not my girlfriend. And so I knew that side of him.
Too cautious.
And I don't want to be with someone, especially, you know, if you're with someone who's not in your friendship group, what you don't know can't hurt you. Yeah. If someone else is going off and dating other people, well, if you don't know, and, you know, before you are exclusive, I guess you do date other people, whatever. But whatever he was doing, I would know about it, because we're in the same, so it becomes, the lines are very blurred.
Very unique situation.
Yeah, so it's hard. So because I think I knew that he constantly would do this with girls and never commit, it was almost like it became a thing, and it's an idea of proving that I can be that girl that can get him and keep him, and
you're good enough.
Yeah, and I'm good enough. And also I didn't want to be a girl that is doing that, and then for him to turn around and say, well, she weren't my girlfriend, because as far as I was concerned, when I'm sleeping at your house and I'm spending all my time with you and I'm not doing anything,
neither are you.
No, neither are you, honey.
No.
Absolutely not.
Right.
And he just would not commit to me. And we was doing everything, you know.
So you were best friends. We
were obviously, you know, sleeping together. But more than that, it wasn't just like we were sleeping together. We was going out. We was going to family
all of the time.
He took me to his sisters. He took me out of his whole family in the March. So we went on our first date in the October. And I remember
time till March.
Yeah, we didn't officially become a couple until the June. That's how long. But looking back, there were so many, like he constantly had me, although we went out when we was together, it's like what you said when you was on the holiday. When we was together, I felt the best I'd ever felt. Everything else, nothing else mattered. Like, I felt the best I'd ever felt. The second I was not in his company, my anxiety levels were through the roof. I never felt calm. I was on edge because he would, like, I would message in the morning and he would not reply all day till he'd finished work, but then he'd ring me and I'd be like, oh, he's rung me. And I'd think, well, you've been to the toilet in the day. I don't know if this sounds like psycho, but you look at your phone, you can say to someone, you know, hi babe, I'm going into work now.
It takes 10 seconds.
It takes 10 seconds, and I've learned that now. But I felt like I was, every time I tried to have that conversation, it was, you're asking for too much. You're asking for too much. Like, we're not together, you know, blah, blah. But because he'd then ring after work,
I'd feel invalidating you, making you feel silly.
I was constantly, or he'd go out and not reply to me for 6 hours at a time, and then you become like, why are they not talking to me? And I'm trying to prove myself more and more, to the point I was giving so much, like, and then I was doing things like, it would be his mum's birthday and I'd be like, I'll sort the present. His friends would have babies and I'd go and get baby shower hampers made up. I would get the card. I would do this because I wanted to prove that I was worthy of being his girlfriend.
And what I take from that, just sorry to interrupt,
no,
what I pull from that, what's coming up for me when you're saying that is like, instantly the shift was straight away. It wasn't even about how you felt about him, it was about making sure he liked, it wasn't about if you liked him.
It wasn't about if I liked him at all.
It was a whole, straight away you were fighting for him to like you.
Yeah, and I wanted him to think she's girlfriend material.
And I think as well, two things you said, which I think are good warning signs for like other women listening. You didn't feel, as soon as you weren't with him, you felt anxious or on edge. I've had that with every guy I've dated that's gone wrong. And another thing,
that feeling is your common sense leaving your body.
Yeah, but it's your gut. If you feel anxious and on edge, it's your gut. And also when you said he was saying to you, you're asking for too much.
Oh, it was like, we've been seeing each other for 6 months. Why do you need to put label in it? You rushed things. This is why none of your relationships work out before. You know, and I need to make sure that you're going to come into the relationship, because you've left previous relationships and you've got 2 children by 2 different men. And I need to make sure that you're not just going to leave. And it's like, I don't just up and leave relationships for no reason. You know?
You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Anyone who's listening, you're never too much. You're allowed to ask for what you need in a relationship. If someone's telling you that's too much, they're the wrong person.
Absolutely. But I just, everything about what I wanted in someone, you know, there's so many little bits in between. Like you said, you know, I can't think of every single thing that happened, but I do know that when I was with him, it was amazing. And when I was away from him, I was in this constant, nervous, anxious place.
It seemed like he came in and ticked all the boxes.
Oh my God, yeah, and it was just like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing, and he knows all about me, and we go out together and we have the best time. But then when I wasn't with him, and it was all a secret, and everything was like, oh, I don't want anyone to know, and I don't want this, and I don't want that.
Think, why is he not screaming from the rooftop? Why is he
not and I remember one of the things, and I remember telling my friends, and when I told them, not actually the friends in that friendship group, but another friendship group, I remember in the December, it was my birthday, and we went on our first date at the end of October. It was now my birthday in the December.
It's about 2 months in.
2 months in, we'd been on a few dates, and I remember saying to him, oh, do you fancy doing something on my birthday? He didn't even ask me, like,
I know.
It makes me so angry. I look back and think, like, how? But anyway, we went out for my birthday. We went to a local Indian. I love an Indian, so I'm happy. You know, and he turned up, and I remember saying to my friend, do you think he'll bring a card or a bunch of flowers? She was like, surely. Surely he's got to. And he turns up, and there was no card. There was like, you just would. And I got in the car and my face just said it all, because I literally just looked and thought, like, how?
It's my birthday.
We've also, aside from this, we have a friendship.
Yeah.
Like, you know me. I'm not a stranger.
When he came to your parties before though, did he bring a card?
Oh, probably not. Well, I don't know. I can't remember.
But if I was to go to
But
someone's
if you're my
birthday,
friend, you're now
I'd bring
seeing
them a
me,
card.
you've been on dates, like, it doesn't mean you're going to marry me, but I think it's just a gentleman thing to do. It's your birthday. I'm
If
taking
me and
to
you went
dinner.
out for dinner with your for your
Birthday,
I'd
you would
buy
do it
you like a card.
exactly.
That is a societal norm. If you spend someone's birthday with them, you show up with
You
a
show
card.
up, yeah, exactly.
And maybe some flowers if you're in a sort of decent person.
Decent person. So, and
Lots
you
of
didn't. I mean,
flowers.
I remember, I just couldn't hide it. Like, I was actually just a bit like,
Did you say happy birthday?
yeah. And he knew, because I got in the car and he was like, it's almost like it was like a mind blowing, because as soon as we got in the car, he was like, you're pissed off that I haven't bought you flowers. And it's like, well, if you knew I was going to be pissed off, then why would you not turn up with them?
Because he wanted to.
Yeah, he wanted to, yeah.
He wanted to challenge you and get you in a pickle.
And
That's
anyway,
what
so
he
that was that. And that was probably kind of one of the first things that, like, this, you're not going to, you know, some people want different things, but I think basic things
Your
like
needs,
that,
that's
you
what
deserve
you need,
that.
yeah,
Like,
that's, you should never,
yeah. And I'm
You're
such
allowed
a
to
giving
want that.
person like that.
Yeah.
Like, I would just,
You deserve a freaking card on your birthday.
yeah, exactly.
And you're allowed to expect that.
Yeah, and so that was kind of the first thing, and then there was a number of things in between, but it was still good at this point when we was together. And then in the March, I remember he introduced me to all of his family. We went out for his sister's birthday, and even when he rang me to ask me, it was, don't get too excited, it doesn't mean anything. So it was like, I'm doing this nice thing, but don't get too excited, I don't want you to think anything of it. So it was constant, like, mixed emotions, so I couldn't even, so then when I
really
would,
enjoy the fact that he'd asked you.
but that's when it started, so it was like, he would do a nice thing, then he would say something backhanded, so I couldn't enjoy the nice thing, because straight away, before I could even enjoy that moment and think, oh my God, he's asked me to meet his family, it was, well, don't get excited because it doesn't mean anything. And then when I would question that, it was, you should be grateful that I've even asked you. How are you turning something positive into a negative?
That is serious gaslighting.
And that's where it started. But
he knew he was saying that thing on purpose because he knew you'd get upset by it. So he could then flip it on
and
you.
It's like everything, the flowers, he knew I'd get upset by it, but he didn't. It was like he just...
It's intentional.
Yeah, it's all that little bit more of...
You're second guessing
I'm
yourself.
becoming more into him because I then want to prove even more so that I am girlfriend material.
Yeah.
I am worthy of being with you. So then I'm falling more and more.
That's just more straight up gaslighting, where it's like he's convinced you then that you're being ungrateful, and then you're quite doubting yourself.
Doubting it.
And I think as well, what I'm picking up here is, sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, go.
It's like, he's still talking to you, he's still calling you every day, he's still taking you out, so you know he likes you, so you are playing it out and you are trying to, that's why you're staying and you're hooked, because he's clearly showing you he likes you, all this stuff. So you're just trying to get through those hurdles for the promise of a great relationship.
And also what he would do, which is another thing, is he would love bomb me in such a way. He was the most affectionate person I've ever been with. I've never ever had someone show me the level of affection that he showed me, or someone that I've ever been with who has put me on a pedestal higher than what he did.
Same.
In terms of how I looked.
Yeah, same.
It was all superficial, so he would constantly say to me, you're the most beautiful girl I've been with, constantly make me feel good in that way about myself.
But not about
what
who you
cuddled
are.
me so much, like
held
me, would sit and stroke my face, like do such sweet things. We had the most passionate, we had the most passionate sex life. Like all of those things, it was just insane.
Is that what they're watching the romance films?
Yeah, it was just
like
amazing.
rom-com.
Yeah, literally. And I was like,
and every woman wants to be cherished and
So that side of it.
That's what you were holding out for, because you've never had it before.
Yeah, and I love those
start.
things. Those things, I'm not a naturally affectionate person. My love language isn't giving affection massively. I do other things, little thoughtful things, and do things like that. But I'm not a massive someone who would walk up to someone. I think it's an ADHD thing. I feel awkward if someone cries. I'm like,
see, I'm the opposite.
Oh, yeah. Well, and he was so, but I'm not a massive person at giving it, but to receive it, loved it. And then
was he like that from the very start, the cherishing you and making you feel so special?
In a way, when I was with him, yes.
When you was with
But
him, so
he
that's what you
would always say to
wanted.
me, I'm such a cuddler. I love a cuddle. So it was almost like, I don't know whether it was just with me or it was just him as a person.
Straight away, it's planting that doubt in your mind. It might not just be you.
Be you, yeah.
Which has been planted the whole way along.
Yeah. And then in the June, we went away, and I think we had just become official then, maybe.
Was this to the wedding?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was for August 30th. To Spain. And I remember, I can't remember the ins and outs because I feel like so much has happened that my brain is just like blocked so many things out. But I remember crying on the way to the airport, and I'd never cried in front of him before. He just had some, but I remember like being in Westfield shopping centre with him, shopping for that holiday, for outfits. And I remember walking around the shopping centre crying, because he had such a way of how he spoke to me about things. And at the time I felt like, am I going mad? But he was so
convincing,
manipulative with things that I couldn't even put my finger on it
you
now.
Can't even say to him, you've upset me for
with
this reason.
It was just, he had this way of belittling me with things and making me feel a certain way. And my body was just on an edge constantly around, like, not even around him, but like away from him. And then I think by this point we went shopping just before, and I remember some things must have been changed, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember being in Westfield, walking around the shopping centre, crying, and I didn't mean to see him. We was ordering food and I'm wiping away tears. And then we went on the airport on the way to Spain. I remember sitting in the car and I broke down to him over how he was making me feel over certain things. And then we sorted it out and we went away.
Sorry?
I can't even remember.
I think that's what it is as well. You can't always necessarily, you can't pinpoint it. It's just these subtle things they do that make you feel it's the energy.
It was an energy.
Yeah.
And
it puts you on edge because you're so receptive of things.
Yeah. And then we went away to Spain and we had the best time. We was partying. Obviously it's difficult because it was a lot of Amber's friends and my family. But I always felt awkward with him around other people, like my mum and dad and my sister, and I just don't know, there was just this vibe. Yeah, your gut. And I remember Amber saying to me, like, he doesn't let you go, he doesn't put you down, and I was like, oh, shut up, like, he's just affectionate, like, it's a nice thing, like, I remember thinking, just be happy for me.
Yeah.
But I think she obviously now says to me, it was so much so, like, we'd be sitting on the beach and he would be cuddling me like this, like, it was all like
in front of your parents as well.
Just didn't let me go, like, to an extreme level of affection. But at this point you
were like, oh, he loves me so much. Yeah.
And I remember my first proper warning sign was, obviously we'd had a lot to drink.
And that holiday?
We'd gone out one night, we'd had a lot to drink, and I remember everyone was going out afterwards and he wanted to go back to the room. And I remember saying to him, everyone was like, we're just going to go upstairs for a cigarette. And I was like, I'm going to go for a cigarette, you go back to the room. Oh no, let's go upstairs for a cigarette. And he was like, why do you want to go upstairs for? And I was like, well, I'm not going out, I just want to go and have a cigarette. You know what it's like, you've had a few drinks, you've been out. To be honest, I didn't want to cut the night short, but I'm away with him, it's hard, he doesn't know he wants to go back, so I'm trying to do. And I remember he went really funny, was like, why do you want to go upstairs? And I was like, well, if you don't, just go back to the room if you don't want to come.
Yeah.
And it ended up in this argument, and he was really horrible to me. And I can't remember word for word what it was, but he was really horrible to me. He said some horrible things, and I was crying my eyes out. And then I remember threatening, I was like, I'm going to stay with my mum and dad. I'm not staying in this hotel room with you. And then he got really upset. Please don't, I'm sorry.
I've been there.
Anyway, we went to bed. No, actually, my friend heard the arguing and knocked on the door and came in the room and could see I was in a state. And she said, I'm not leaving until I know she's okay. And
that just tells you the nature of the argument.
Yeah, and she could see I was in a state and she literally wouldn't leave. And in the end, I was like, no, I'm fine. That is fine. And the next day, we woke up and I just put it down to,
we've had a drink.
We've had a drink. like things happen. You know, I've seen my friends argue with their partners when
Yeah.
they're drunk. You know, you just do.
It's just an argument.
But it did put something in my head because it wasn't just we had an argument. I can't remember what he said, but I remember at the time it was something personal and just nasty.
And it was appearance or
no, it was like he
character.
never really said anything about my appearance.
Never
That's the
did
one
he?
thing he never really done, which I think is now why my anxiety with my appearance is so bad, because it's like if I lose that, I've lost everything.
Because he destroyed everything.
Because he
else
destroyed
about you.
everything else about
I mean,
me.
everything about your appearance.
And I think I remember we woke up and it was all fine, and I remember the rest of the holiday I think it was okay.
But you do have something in the back of your. There's some when these things happen. There is something in the back of you, deep down, that does know something about
But
that.
I remember
quite
him
right.
saying to me and my sister had an argument, and like what you said, when you had an argument with your friend, it would be, see? And I remember one night, me and Amber had a bit of an argument, and he went, see, it's not just me, look how you are.
Yeah, that's what I used to do.
And there was that. Anyway, that was that. We came home from the holiday. That was at the end of June. And then in the July, I was going on a hen do. And in between that, I remember it being fine. When I went on the hen do, I remember going out one night, and at this point, certain things had started happening in between, because I remember I did start to constantly feel on edge, constantly felt in this nervous, can't explain it, energy. And I went away, and
Constant fight and flight.
I remember him phoning me at 5 o'clock in the morning. No, in between this, he had told me that he is someone who will go on Instagram, and wherever I am, he will go on to the place of where I am, go on to a tag thing, see who else is in the place, then go on their stories, and made it known to me that he will be watching everything I do. So I was, everywhere I went, I started to be on this nervous energy because he wanted me to know. He's not even someone that was doing it and didn't want me to know, he wanted me to know.
He was watching
And he
you.
almost made a joke of it, and to the point that I started joking with it. I'm like, oh my God, you're a lunatic, oh my God, you're a nutter. And he would laugh a bit and be like, no, I know. But
I'm watching
so
you.
everywhere I went, so I remember it was like 5 o'clock in the morning,
That's
he was in a
scary.
club, and he rang me, where are you? And I was like, I'm in blah, blah. He was like, what's the name of the club? And I told him, and he was like, I've just seen you on someone's video, in the background of a video, I thought it was you. And I was like, I'm not even at that place. Anyway, he's now not going to bed until I get home. So now we're in a club, my battery's going, I can't enjoy the night. I'm panicking, thinking, oh my God, what if my battery goes? He's never going to talk to me again. Anyway, we get back. And he was like, oh, I'm really sorry. Like, I just thought I saw you in someone's video in a club.
That's so crazy.
And I was just on this nervous energy, and we'd had this big argument, and he kind of ruined that time because everything was, where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with? I had to send videos of where I was to show there was no boys around me. Did anyone talk to you? And I was so nervous that, you know, people had approached me when I was been out, and I'd be so nervous to lie to him that I would end up telling him,
And then it was your fault.
and then it was my fault. Well, how was you dancing?
What was
How was you
wearing?
acting? And you must have been giving them the eye to them to approach you. And all of
Yeah.
this, to the point that I was so then scared to look at anyone when I was out that I'd want to look at the floor, because I didn't
You're
want
scared.
anyone to look at me.
You're actually scared if someone comes up to you because of him.
Yeah,
That's
and then I remember he ruined that weekend for me. And I remember
always
on the
ruin the
last
best
day
thing.
I didn't go out. I let all the girls go to lunch, and obviously I was hungover, I was emotional. But I remember getting back from the airport, and he was there. He was like, let me pick you up from the airport. He was there, flowers waiting for me, you know, telling me how much and we went home, and that was the day he told me he loved me. And
That's really
that
crazy.
made up for it. So my whole weekend that had been ruined for one of my really good friends' hen weekend that we had waited for so long, that had been ruined and tainted, but I now no longer cared, because I've come home, he's met me at the train station with flowers, and even everyone, my mum and dad were like, oh my God, like, that, how lovely of him to do that. And then we go home and we sleep together, and he tells me he loves me. And I am now like over the moon, because I'm now like, oh my God, like, I'm worthy.
Because you were so
He
down
wants me to
before.
be his girlfriend, like, it's finally official, like he wants to be with me, and it was almost
He's had his dangled this carrot over you for 6 months. Already the cycle of abuse is going, and you finally got that carrot, and you're not going to let go of it now.
And from there on out, it was hell. That is honestly where, God, it makes me upset. But that's honestly where I feel like everything just literally changed overnight, like the minute. And I don't know whether, looking back now, he held off so much of.
So you were weak.
Not even that. I don't know whether he knew what he was like in a relationship, and maybe when he's not in a relationship, this is me trying to make out that he's got some nice qualities somewhere, that was he worried that he knew once he's in a relationship what he's like, that because of the friendship group he didn't want to commit with me because he knew what he was going to turn into.
I don't know, but from knowing about narcissists and stuff, the second someone's physically abusive, that is narcissist. Like, this is straight fact. If someone ever lays a finger on you, that is narcissistic abuse, and they're instantly a narcissist through and through. If someone is a narcissist, they don't love anyone, they're not capable of it, they won't even love their own children. Like, it's fact. This is just literal information. He was physically abusive to you. He was a narcissist. I do not think, if he could sleep in your house and meet your children and physically abuse you, I don't think he was ever the sort of person to be considerate of the fact he was going to hurt you. I think the reason he didn't get into relationships for so long and he wouldn't commit and everything else was because he was dragging it out till you were completely hooked and in love that he could abuse you and get away with it. That's what I think.
And then there was, like, when I look back at things, like there was,
he's testing you.
Done a modelling shoot for a big jewellery brand, actually, because of Amber got it, and they wanted us to do a Mother's, I think it was something to do, was it Mother's Day or something? Anyway, we went up to Liverpool.
I remember it.
Done this big shoot for, it was for I Say It With Diamonds.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And
it was a big moment for you.
Yeah, and I remember coming back and the pictures came out and there was a clip and we was in these suits. And I think this was just after, I can't remember if it was maybe just before the hen or after, maybe it was after. I can't remember the exact dates. But I remember we had this video and the company put it up, and I've lifted my arms up a little bit in one of the things where I'm moving around, and I'm not joking, like this much of my underboob was in the video.
They wouldn't have posted, they're a big professional company, they're not going to post
yeah,
it's going to affect their branding.
It was the tiniest amount. Well, I was every slag under the sun. I was, no wonder you've been under, no wonder everyone leaves you. You are, look at you, you're this. Who the fuck is going to want to be with you? You are embarrassing, you're this, you're that. And then the silent treatment started. And he would ignore me. I would ring him and I would be crying my eyes out. Please, like, I'm not this, like, I won't do it again, I'm sorry. Who the fuck wants their missus all over Instagram with their tits? And I'd be like, you can't see anything, it's underboob. And then he would ignore me all night. He would block me, he would turn his phone off, he would ignore me all night, and I would be up all night, petrified, literally petrified. And then because we was in the friendship group, I was so worried about what he was going to, like, what everyone was going to think of me. Yeah. And he just had me on this, like, obviously so many things happened to get to this place of these little things, but he just literally, and I've done all these things before. I've done modelling, you knew this. Like, I'm on Instagram doing all these things, but it was, no, you're too showy. All of my mates, everyone is going to look and think, none of my friends' girlfriends do that. Name one of my friends' girlfriends that do that. And then when we got into arguments, it would be I should have fucking stayed away from you. Everyone told me about you. Every single one of my friends could have fucked you. Like, the way he would talk to me, it just vile. He just would be so nasty to me. And then
you're just so desperate.
And then it would be you drink too much. And bear in mind, I do not drink too much.
No.
But when I go out, I like to let my hair down. I'm a mum, I don't go out a lot. I go out once every 3 months, if that. Like, it's literally, like when there's a celebration,
Yeah,
someone's
explain that.
birthday, a hen do, but
Even if you do want to go out.
yeah,
and
even
drink,
if I did, but I
Do
was
I?
never out a lot. But when I
Got
don't have my
kids.
children, I do, and when I go out, I like to let my hair down.
Yeah.
And then it was all of the things that he loved about me, all the messages from Instagram that he would reply to with love-struck eyes, or like my stories because I'd be in an outfit that was a little bit revealing, and all of the things that he liked, you know, when we would go out drinking and getting drunk and have the best time, like the things
that made you who you are.
were the things that he loved about me at the beginning, suddenly were now the things that, why would anyone want to wifey you? Why would anyone want to be with you?
Starts picking
apart all of my things and
strengths.
yeah, and so then I started doing things, and I remember another red flag. We went to his friend's barbecue in the summer, and I didn't drink. Now everyone is there, the girlfriends, the partners, the kids. It wasn't a massive boozy thing, but everyone was having a couple of drinks, and I was like, "No, I'll drive. It's your friends. You enjoy yourself." Trying to prove that I'm worthy and I'm this good girlfriend, and no, like I don't drink a lot, and I'm sitting there and, you know, I feel like I'm being on best behaviour.
You're also probably anxious anyway.
So I keep going over to him, and he's getting more and more drunk. And I remember at the end of the night, I went to sit on his lap and put my arm around him, and he pushed me off.
Bad people.
And I remember thinking, I went over to the girls and I was like, why is he being like that? Like, I don't understand what I've done wrong.
Like, when you do the right thing, it's still wrong.
Yeah. And I remember getting in the car, driving home, and he actually didn't go in at me at first. It wasn't talking. And I'm now driving, it's late, it's dark, he's driving, and I just had this energy, and I was like, what is the matter? What is wrong with you? You was looking at this one all night. You was one of his best friends, can I add, who I'm friends with the girlfriend with, who...
One of your friends' boyfriends.
You was all over him, you spoke to him all night, you didn't... And I was like, what? Like...
It wouldn't have mattered what you'd done.
You're joking, but there would have been a reason. And at this point, you've crucified me for drinking, so now I'm not drinking. So now I'm going out being sober. And now there's something else. Now it's that I'm flirting with your friends. So now...
There's always something.
When I go out, not only am I not drinking, I'm now... Not looking, scared to look at his friends, scared to have too much of a conversation in case I get accused of flirting. Like, there was... And from... those times, that was when I think, looking back, I started to think, I'm a bit fucked here.
Yeah.
I'm a bit, but he had his claws into me, and at this point, I can't. And listen, I'm no angel in a relationship, you know. I'm not no angel. I don't mean it like that, but you know, we have arguments, and I can not answer back in a way, but you know, no one's perfect. You know, I'm not saying that every single thing was him, but I am a very relaxed person, and I am, you know, I say relaxed, probably normal for things. Like, I would be the first person to sit and look at a girl and be like, oh my God, she's pretty, or she's got a nice bum, or she's got this, you know. I'm not one of those girlfriends that you can't look at anyone, you can't talk to anyone, you can't, you know. He had a job in an office full of women. He would go on work nights out. I would never ever say a thing. He'd go everywhere we went. He'd turn around and he'd sit and talk to girls on the table behind us. I'd never say a thing. He was a bubbly character. That's how it was. He would go into a sunbed shop and talk to all the women in there. I'd never say a word. He'd go to the gym and talk. Never ever would I say a word, because I'm just not like that.
No.
But he was allowed to do what he wanted, and I was not allowed to go to a gym. I was not allowed to, at this point, my clothing business that I done pop-up shops in, I was not allowed to do pop-up shops in gyms. And I remember, you know, situations. We was going to my aunt's for an early Christmas dinner, and on the way I'd told him that in 2 days' time I was doing a pop-up in a gym. All hell broke loose, to the point I had to pull over the car with the kids in the car, and I was in such a state. I'm not coming to your aunt's. Like, no, I had to pull over and get out of the car. But they're not stupid, you know, but I couldn't drive. I was in this anxious, he's messaging me, abuse, to the point I couldn't drive. And then I've had to go and sit in my aunt's house with everyone now knowing the energy, because we're sitting there when we're not talking, and he just made me feel so on edge everywhere I went. You know, I can't explain every single thing that happened, but at this point in our relationship, every single place I went, every night out I went to, I had to send videos of where I was. I had to send videos every half an hour that there was no men around me. He was going through my social media every single day. He was looking at who liked my story. He would go through my followers every day. Anyone who had ever previously liked an Instagram post, I had to block. Everyone who just complete and utter control. If I wore makeup somewhere, if I put perfume on to go to the wholesalers, why are you doing that? Every part of my life, I had an old boy mate who I was friends with for years, and he'd put fire emojis under one of my posts years ago. I wasn't allowed to talk to him anymore. Like, every single part of my life was now controlled. What I wore, who I spoke to, what I posted on social media.
Everything.
Every single thing. Every part of it was just complete control now. And
you can't even see it at the time because it's so subtle as well.
I couldn't even see it. And that is the scary thing, is it was so subtle, and it was almost like
you can't see it.
You should be grateful that I care so much.
Same.
You should be so grateful. I love you so much. Of course I don't want boys liking your stuff. Of course I don't want...
It's because I love you.
It's because I love you. And I was just under this such control. It's so fucking crazy how I...
Lost
myself. Like, you don't even see it coming. And because
it's so
while this is going on, he is still the most affectionate person. He is still someone that I can sit and belly laugh with.
You.
And he would do all of this, and I would go, but it was now becoming so heavy. And I remember at this point this is now the October, we was going to a wedding in Cyprus. The night before, he kicked off over something, and it was, I'm not coming, you can go on your own. It was just constantly, I was in this nervous cycle, every single part of it, I'm not coming, you can go on your own. I'm begging. And actually, I wish he'd never come, because that was where the physical abuse started. And from then on out,
he had you.
He had me. The controlling side of it started from the June and July, and that was already hell. What I didn't realise was what I was then going into.
It was going to get a lot worse.
In the October. And we went away to a wedding.
And on Instagram, by the way, they had lovely pictures together.
Oh my God, you would never have known.
You would
never ever have known. And this is why Instagram is so fake and dangerous, because you would never have known. And we did, in some parts, have the best time, but I just wasn't relaxed. I wasn't, even on the airport when we was with people, I was worried about the boys talking to me. Anyone who was at the wedding, I was worried. I stopped talking to everybody, like wouldn't make conversations in the groups in case someone said something that he didn't like. Someone brought up a night that we'd maybe been out drunk, and it would make him go into me and question me. And yeah, at this point I was just totally losing myself, to be quite honest, like just completely and utterly.
It's a cycle of abuse. It's like what you say with the slot machine, it's like being on drugs. It's that if you have a drug addict, they take a drug, they take heroin for example, they have this massive high, then this huge low. That is how addiction is formed.
Yeah.
He's giving you constantly from day one this high of...
And every day was a high and low.
Yeah.
Every single day. There was not a day that went past in this relationship that I can hand on heart say there wasn't saying, and I am really painting over the cracks, like, because the things that were going on daily. My ex-partner lived in the same area as me, so if I went to a Tesco's in that area, why are you going to Tesco's where he lives? If I sat down on the sofa, to the point where I had to, before he would come round, I had to rehearse conversations that I were going to have with him. And it sounds mad, but if I did not talk to him for 5 minutes, well, this is boring. What we've got no conversation. And bearing in mind, if I got in a car and didn't call him, oh my God, all hell would break loose. Like, I had to speak to him. If I wasn't speaking to him on the phone, we was texting. If I took longer than half an hour to reply to the messages, what are you doing? Why are you not replying?
But he would take 4 hours to reply.
But he would take 4 hours. And And he would do things like, I remember you coming round once and I remember saying to him, is this normal? And he'd gone out or he'd done something and then not replied to me till he didn't answer the phone to me the night before and then didn't reply to me till 12 o'clock the next day. And I would be like, but it was all part of this. So then I was in his clutches because I'm
wondering where he is.
And I'm just so like deep in it. But every part of my life at this point was, I had to get every car, the journey that I got into, I had to speak to him. If I got in the car, bearing in mind I had my children every other weekend, so we only saw each other every other weekend. On those weekends, I run two of my own businesses. I wasn't allowed to be on my phone. If I picked up my phone, this is our time together. So I was not doing any work on the weekends, bar being at the market. I wasn't doing any work on the weekends that I was with him. I was scared to look at my phone. Even if I said, let's watch a series, if it made me feel like
everything you did was wrong.
Everything I did was wrong, and that I was boring if I didn't have a conversation with him. If I got in the car with him and I wasn't talking,
so he's judging everything.
It was, why have you got nothing to say to me? We've got nothing in common. Have you not even got any conversation with me? So I was constantly, everything that I was doing, I was like, oh my God. So I would, before he'd come round, I'd almost have to think to myself, like, what am I going to talk to him about? Right, okay, let's. But also, we spoke 7 million times a day. So by the time we did see each other, there was no conversation to be had.
Nothing to say.
Because we're speaking.
You know everything each other's doing.
Yeah, like so much.
As much as you only saw each other every other week, he was with you, and that's what's really coming out for me. Even when you're on the holiday with your friends, he's watching you. You are never free of his gaze until you begin to live under it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm really picking up here. All of us from early, he's always there in your ear, on your phone, checking this. You cannot do anything because he's watching you.
Yeah, and everything he started with me over. So every day, I would wake up anxious over what it was going to be today. I remember going and putting on pyjamas. This is how like controlling. I had to pick my son up from football, and I remember I put pyjamas on and I didn't realise they were glow in the dark. So I've gone over to his football field and gone over, and it's pitch black because it's winter time, and my pyjamas were glow in the dark. So my son is mortified. Like, I have literally read every bit of street red he's got, because here I am with pyjamas that have got moons and stars that are now luminous green. And I remember putting it on my Instagram story, and I got abused. You fucking attention seeker. You done that because you wanted everyone to look at you. Because you wanted all the dads. If I would go and watch my son play football, who are you sitting next to? I had to send videos at a football match to show that no men were sitting near me, even at my son's football. If I dropped the kids, if I picked them up from a friend's house on a play day, if I was in there for longer than 10 minutes, I had to give a breakdown. If I'd done a car journey that would take, so he knew roughly that the car journeys from mine to his would take 40 minutes. If I was 47 minutes, that extra 7 minutes would have to be accounted for. If I went through a certain way of where my ex-partner lived, why are you going through Loughton? Is it because you wanted to see him? Like, no one understands the level of, it wasn't just control, my whole
everything
life.
You did was under
everything I did, I got questioned over. Every move I made was,
you had to answer for.
I had to answer for. Like, I literally would spend my days shaking. Like, and that is no exaggeration. Like, it wasn't just a little bit of, it was complete and utter. He took
over everything.
Literally
you couldn't go and pick your son up.
Couldn't pick my children up from their friends from a play date. I couldn't go to a football match. I couldn't go to Tesco's. I couldn't take my kids into a local area. Like, it wasn't someone who just was a little bit like, oh, when I went out with my friends, it was complete and utter. I was scared to be silent in the car. I was scared to post
everything.
I was
couldn't
literally everything. Yeah, I couldn't even be quiet. I remember going to my mum and dad's house, and they'd be watching the football together, and I would sit on my phone, and at this point I had no time for myself, like not one bit of time for myself. I would, every second that I was with the children, I would have to work in the evenings of the weekend, because I knew when it was my day with him, I couldn't pick up my phone. I couldn't do any work. So it's not like even when I had the children. So I was then sacrificing time with my children because I knew that those were the nights that I had to work more, because the second I was with him, I couldn't go out with my friends anymore on the nights because, oh my God, that was fucking, I was torture. I couldn't see my friends. I stopped seeing my friends. I missed such important things in my friend's life. Everything was controlled. So I was losing out time, and my businesses were going down the pan because when I was with him,
you weren't allowed to post pictures of yourself in the clothes anymore.
I wasn't allowed to do anything. So much, like, there was just that, and like you said, there was never a time where he said to me, you're not going out, but every time I went out, I was having to send things. He would abuse me so badly that I would be out with my friends and crying, and people get sick of it.
Yeah.
People get sick. Everyone's going out for a nice night, and I'm there getting called every slag under the sun because there's a group of boys on the table next to me that I've not even spoke to. Oh, I bet you're talking to him. And then I'd go home and he'd goad me and be like, well, this one spoke to me. This one spoke to me. And it was almost like he'd done it because he wanted me to say, oh, well, you know what, this person spoke to me as well, to kind of retaliate.
Constantly trying to catch you up.
Oh, it was just, it was relentless, like absolutely relentless. And then I was in this cycle, and then we was going away for a wedding in Cyprus. He made that hell.
Physical abuse started.
The physical abuse started, and actually, it started because I remember we was out having a really good time. We'd had the wedding. People had noticed at this point at the wedding that something was really, really wrong. He was doing things where he would gaslight. So, for instance, I wasn't allowed to wear, we went on a boat party and I had to go and borrow something from my friend because I wasn't allowed to wear the bikini. Bearing in mind we were on holiday, wasn't allowed to wear the outfit that I had planned. It was a bikini. So I had to go up to my friend and say, have you got something I can borrow because I'm not allowed to wear this? We had an argument over that. One day he left the villa, told me he's not coming to the boat party. So I was outside with my friend's husband, hysterical, crying, just in this complete state all the time of despair in front of people. But he would then do things like, I remember after the wedding, he got so drunk, he put me to bed and I woke up and he'd got in the hot tub in his pants that had gone completely see-through. Now at this point, I can't talk to anyone, I can't wear what I want, and now you are in a hot tub with girls that are my friends in pants that are see-through. So I'm now sitting there thinking, hold on a minute,
Also,
I lose my shit because I'm like, how have you stopped me going out for this day out in a bikini that I've got planned? Meanwhile, you're in see-through
it's a double
pants.
standard, and also that's your way of trying to fight back and show him.
But then I'm the lunatic because no one's really seeing what he's doing to me.
No.
At this point, I'm very hush-hush because either way, although on that time, obviously, when I'd said it to my friend that I need to borrow an outfit, she's starting to think, what the fuck's going on here? And he's doing these things and I'm coming out like...
He's showing you that this is how I show love, so you're going to match his...
Yeah.
He's taught you and trained you, I love you so much.
And it's why is it one rule for you and another for me? So then I look like a lunatic. We have a massive argument. He storms out the villa. And at this point, we'd gone out for a dinner. He'd left the table, literally calling me every slag under the sun. He's not going back to the dinner. I'm embarrassed. We're screaming and shouting in the street. And at this point, people were noticing something's really not wrong. And they know. We went to a boat party. I sat down all day because I was then accused of flirting with my friend's boyfriend, who was the DJ, and I'm looking at him too much, and it was just relentless. After the wedding, we then go on, because it's our 1 year anniversary, so we then go on to stay at a hotel, just me and him, and we're out one night, and bearing in mind, at this point, I am not allowed old boy mates, I'm not allowed anyone on social media, he's completely controlling everything, and something come up of a girl, and I can't remember what it was, so I've said, well, who's that? And he was like, oh, well, she's my mate. And I was a bit like...
Double standard.
Well, I've never met her before, like... And I'm not this girl, like, I don't care about things like this, but you are controlling my life to such an extent.
Yeah.
How are you allowed to have... How are you...
Yeah.
And now you've got these girls on your social media, so I've questioned it. The whole thing gets deflected on me. Give me your phone. Let me go through your phone. Let me see this. And I'm like, no. And he's like, give me your phone. So he's gone so far back in my phone that he's ended up finding a message between a guy that I had slept with 7 years prior. After I split up with my little girl's dad, I slept with this guy. And he'd been messaging me when me and him started dating. And, you know, I'd replied before we were together right at the beginning. And then once we got a bit more like serious from like the December-y time, I just started ignoring him. But I remember in the February, I had messaged this guy because his family, he lived in Turkey. He'd moved to Turkey for work and his family were from there, and there had been a massive earthquake in Turkey. And he'd put up a story of like, my family are in trouble, something really devastating. And I just replied to the story saying, sending lots of love, hope you're okay. Sending love to your family, I hope everyone is safe. And that was it. And then he came back saying thank you, and that was it. And then I think he'd messaged me one or two other times and I'd completely blanked them. And he'd gone through my phone now.
So you made it very clear to this man that you're not interested.
Yeah, but because I hadn't blocked him, it wasn't enough. Me just ignoring the messages wasn't enough. Why do I still need him on there? So because I then tried to question him on something, he then took my phone and went through my messages and found these messages, or saw that I had messaged him in the February.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, in the February, you're not committing to me.
You're telling me
it's
not that deep.
It's not that deep. We're not
so
together.
Then you really are going crazy because it's changing the.
Not that they did anything bad. It was a message to say I hope his family are
Say
dying.
that even if you are exclusive.
Yeah, and
you're allowed to wish someone well.
Well, yeah, and
if you deem that appropriate, it's appropriate.
It kicked off. Anyway, he ended up. We went back to the room and. I can't remember what happened. It was a total blur. But he smashed my phone, first of all. He threw my phone in a rage. And then I remember trying to take the phone off of him, and he threw my phone at my lip. And my lip bust. I'm sure it was my phone that hit my lip. I know he never punched me. I know that. He never punched me.
It was an accident.
And then, we was arguing, and I remember my lip was cut. And then I remember me trying to calm him down. And I remember like, please, like it wasn't like that. Trying to just like...
Yeah, explain yourself.
I was never, and this is the thing, not that I know, you know, people in abusive relationships, they do, if someone's going for you, people do fight back.
Yeah.
I never ever fought him back. Ever. I never once thought, he's hitting me, I'm going to go for you, or pushed him back. Ever. Did I ever do that? I was in such a state, the only thing I would ever do is just try and like, hold on to his arm and be like, I'd be literally begging, please calm down. It's not like that. Literally, like what you said, to the point where I had no pride in me.
Yeah.
I literally just
completely
begging.
despair.
The thought of him walking away from me at this point, I was so weak. The thought of him walking away from me terrified the life out of me. I genuinely believed I could not survive without him. Like, who is going to want me? No one's ever going to show me the love that you show me. No one's ever going to show me the affection. We had the best sex lives. It was all those things, and I knew what a charmer he was at the beginning. I never wanted anyone to have that.
Yeah.
So I never thought of the bad things that were happening. I just thought, oh my God, I'm making him like this. This is me. I'm making him like this, the way I behave, the way I talk, the way I am on social media. So if he leaves me, he's going to go and meet a girl who's going to be all the things that I'm not, and he's going to love her correctly, and it's going to be this is where
he's
I'm
constantly makes so much. It's constantly telling you I'm here. He's constantly reminding you there's this.
No one wants a girl like you. Look at the way you talk. You're trappy. You're this. You're that. You're
your fault. I'm doing this to you.
So I was so weak, and I remember just begging him, and I remember laying in bed crying, and I kept turning over, please, and he was like, shut the fuck, I don't want to talk to you. And I was like, please, I don't want to go to bed on an argument, please, I'm not going to be able to sleep, because I was thinking, I've now got no phone, I'm away in a foreign country, I can't get hold of my children, I can't ring my mum and dad, I was just in such a state, and I remember him spitting at me, and whacking me with a pillow, literally like, get away from me, and hitting me with this pillow. And I remember him spitting at me, and I just remember being in such this state of like, oh my God, like, and then the next day, he made me log into my Instagram on his phone, and he made me sit with him and go through my whole Instagram history of the year before I was with him, to every boy that I spoke to, and literally abused me over every single one. You're embarrassing, you're desperate. Why is a girl like you messaging all these people? I remember literally shaking. He would walk off with his phone, and he'd walk off with his phone with my Instagram still logged in, and he'd go missing. So now I'm sitting there like beside myself, literally beside myself. And I
believe him.
And then I remember he went back to this boy's conversation and went through messages from 7 years ago of us talking about, I hadn't told him. So when this boy was messaging me, when the one that lived in Turkey, I hadn't told him that I'd slept with him. I just said that I dated him.
Yeah.
So then he's seen messages of us talking about when we'd slept together, something like that. And he's gone back and he's seen it. So he has come back and he has got his passport, and he's now telling me he's leaving. He's walked out of the hotel, and I am now chasing him down the street in Cyprus because he has now left me in Cyprus. I've got no phone, and I'm in this hotel on my own.
You feel like you're dying.
And I literally felt,
you can't.
What am I going to do?
That's like life or death.
So I am now running after him in Cyprus like a lunatic, and I managed to catch up with him. And I remember he's got his phone, and he's abusing me over the messages. And I tried to take his phone to get off, and I was like, I'm logging out of the thing, and I tried to take the phone off of him to stop him looking and going through it.
It's your private account.
Yeah, and he got my fingers and bent my fingers so far back he broke them. And from that point onwards, he literally tormented me so badly. Like, we would be sitting, and now I'm stuck with him. So then he didn't leave, obviously, because he's not finished abusing me. And I remember sitting there, and there'd be girls walking past, and he'd literally sit next to me, and he'd be like, "Oh my God, look at her tits. Oh my God, I'd love to fuck her." Like, that is it to every girl that walked past, literally tormenting me. Like, girls that he'd been with before, he would get their naked pictures up and be like, "Oh, look at her tit, look." And then,
that's so evil.
Like, he would sit there and torment me and then abuse me about how my body looks. Look at her body compared to yours. Look at how she looks. Look at this. Look at that. And every girl that walked past, he'd be going, "Oh my God, look at her." Like, and I'm sitting with him. And he just completely and utterly tormented me, told me that he didn't love me, that I should have listened. It was just, basically, well, that's how bad it was. And then we flew home, and on the aeroplane, I remember my finger was so swollen. I had a ring that I couldn't get on. They were so bruised and swollen, I literally couldn't move them. So we came home, and I was...
You're gone.
I remember sitting in the airport crying on the floor, and him just laughing at me, literally laughing at me.
But he's got you in his grip.
Yeah, and I was just so desperate to be with him. Even after what he had done, it was like the more he hurt me, the more into his clutches I felt.
Yeah, because you crossed all boundaries.
And it was like, I was waiting for him. I was saying to him, "Do you still want to be with me?" Because he made me feel so bad. I didn't tell him that 7 years ago I'd slept with this guy. It was like, well, I'm going to decide. And 1 minute he'd be, "Yeah, I want to be with you." And then he'd say to me, "No, actually, I can't deal with it." Even after he's done what he's done to me, because I didn't tell him someone I slept with 7 years ago.
You don't ever need to tell anyone.
Yeah.
It's your business.
And that's what it was like. And it
You don't
was,
owe anyone that.
yeah, but I was so in his clutches, like even more. It was like I became more obsessed with making myself feel worthy with him and making sure. So
Prove yourself to him.
Yeah, proving myself time and time again. And I remember feeling so grateful that he stayed with me. Like,
that's how I felt.
So grateful. Nothing really violent happened again until the December.
So when was this again?
This was in the October. Oh no, sorry. So in the October, at the end of this month, I'd also, throughout us arguing and our time together, I had really struggled with my ADHD while this is all going on. I was really struggling with my emotions. I would get so emotional with him because I think as ADHD we do struggle with emotional.
Also because of what
he was doing, but yeah, he was making me feel at the time that it was because he would say to me, you need some fucking hormone blockers or something, I can't deal with this, blah, blah, blah. So I got my ADHD medication, got diagnosed, and then started the medication. When I started the medication, it was then...
You're crazy.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I remember when you started the medication, I had no idea he was physical with you at this point. That's what's crazy. I thought you were in a happy relationship. When you started the medication, I remember you saying to me, it makes me really anxious. It's this, that, it doesn't work for me. He was making you really anxious.
Oh my God, he was making everything that I felt like my ADHD at this point was at such a high level, but
it was him.
It was
so
him.
Like,
don't get me wrong, I'm my ADHD now, but not to a point where I can't cope. I struggle to remember things. I'm always late. I'm always things, but it was like I couldn't cope with life. I could not cope with life.
Because he's making it unbearable.
Yeah, and I started my medication, and everything then was because of me. My tablets were so this then became the reason for his violence. So now it was my ADHD medication, because I was focusing on things that he was doing wrong. It was now your medication is because miraculously at the same time that I started the medication, well, he was violent with me once before that, and then I started the medication at the end of October, and from then on out, it was like he had something to blame the violence on.
Yeah.
It was, I've only been like this more and more since you've had your medication. Someone like me, you're focusing on so much of the things I do, you don't know when to stop, you don't know when to, it's how you talk to me, you're the one that the reason I'm like this. So that was all going on from the October, and I remember we went out in the December for my birthday, and from the pictures you'd have thought we had the best night. And I remember there was this woman in the restaurant, and I think she was kind of a bit flirting with me more than she was him. It was really weird. We was all having a giggle, and then I remember I got up to, and he would be standing up, but at this point I'm still nervous to stand up and dance. I'm still nervous to enjoy myself, so I'm very wary. I don't look in a certain group. If there's a group of guys in a restaurant, I don't look anywhere near them. If someone's dancing on the dance floor, I don't look in that direction. But he's the life and soul, allowed to sit and talk to this woman, blah, blah, blah.
He's so fun.
And I remember we went over to the dance floor, and I was dancing next to this woman, and his whole attitude changed. The abuse starts. You're a fucking slag, you're this, you're that. Dancing next to a woman.
She's a lesbian now as well.
Yeah. And amongst everything else, he tries to then say he's leaving me. So we're now in an area that I don't really know. Again, we're drunk. We'd actually booked a hotel around the corner. I'm leaving you, and I've got my keys in his bag. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm not giving you these keys. Number one, we've been doing shots all night. We are pissed. We are in an area I have no idea where I am. You're not leaving me. I'm not giving you these keys in the bag. So again, he bends my fingers so far back on the other hand that he breaks them again so that he gets the keys. He then leaves the restaurant, and we're now outside and arguing, and I'm begging him not to go. Please don't leave. He pushes me to the floor, empties all my stuff all over the floor, flicks his cigarette ash all over me while I'm on the floor, and I'm getting up and he's pushing me back down again. Obviously I'm on the floor, and actually no one said anything. I think people probably looked and thought, I'm not getting involved with that lunatic. Anyway, I ended up getting in the car with him and going back to the hotel because he was going to leave me. So I rushed to the car. But when I say I'm outside on the floor, literally trying to scurry all my stuff together, he's flicking cigarette ash on me, kicking me to the floor, pushing me down each time. We then get in the car.
You wouldn't treat a dog like that.
No. And then we get in the car and we go back to the hotel, and he parks in a car park, in a dingy little car park. I don't even know what area we're in at this point. And he gets out of the car and walks into the hotel. He then parks in a dingy car park and gets out of the car and locks me in the car. and I have now got 6% battery on my phone.
So you're locked in.
I'm locked in a car at 2 o'clock in the morning with
H.E.R.
broken fingers, in a state, and I'm ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing, and he's just ignoring me. And now I'm thinking, I don't know where I am, and I've got 6% battery on my phone. I'm messaging him, nothing, to the point I had to phone the police because I'm now petrified.
You can't escape.
I can't get out, and I'm actually thinking I'm going to have to smash a window, but I just don't know. Anyway, I end up calling the police, and I don't know whether he was watching from around the corner, I don't know. He still to this day says he doesn't know he locked me in the car, but what man walks into a hotel at 2 a.m. after everything he's already done to me, leaves me in a car at 2 a.m, leaves their girlfriend drunk in a thing,
He's got you right where he wants
and
you.
doesn't answer the phone for half an hour. Well, what felt like half an hour, it's probably 10 minutes, but it felt like half an hour. Yeah, so he then, I don't know if the police unlocked the car or he was watching and see the police and unlocked the car, but anyway, I managed to get out. They can see I'm in an absolute state because, well, I was in a state, and they go up and talk to him and they say to me, look, you know, has he hurt you? And I'm like, no, I just want to get back to him. So they gave me a card and they left. And then I go up to the room, we end up arguing again, and I'm pretty sure it was this occasion, to be honest, they all turn into such a blur. But he ends up biting my face. So now I've got a big bite mark in my face and pushes me to the floor. I fall over, I smash my head, and I remember screaming in pain, and he literally just stepped over me and got into bed. And I remember getting myself up and getting in the bed, begging him, crying my eyes out, please cuddle me. Like, it is so fucked how you behave, because you think you're going to be a certain way. You think that I'm not going to stand for this, but you are so
total
weak
victim, Hollie.
in these situations that I just remember thinking, I cannot go to bed again with that anxious feeling, and waking up with that anxious feeling.
You're in so much misery and pain, you're desperate for anything to relieve it.
Yeah. And
he's the only thing that can.
Yeah, I just remember waking up in the morning and just being so desperate. And he was saying to me, I can't be with you because of how you're making me. And he would cry, and I would comfort him, and I would be the one to, comfort him and be like, I know you're not a bad person. I know it's my fault. And from there on out, it was basically just that every single time we had an argument, he hit me, kicked me, choked me, strangled me, slapped me, threw me out of cars. I remember him walking through my house and spitting on my carpet, smashing holes in my doors, breaking my property, punching things in the cars, breaking wing mirrors, just honestly, literally terrorising me. It was just hell.
How did you get out?
The breaking point for me, we'd been out in the July, and we came home and he took my phone off me and pushed me into the stairs, and it was over something so minor, but he pushed me into the stairs, and 2 minutes later Jensen walked through the door, and I remember being back on the stairs, and although Jensen didn't see it, he's walked through, and I was in a state, and I remember thinking, this is getting way too close to home and my children. I mean, the amount of times that my children saw me in states and they would wipe my tears and it would be, Mummy's got a headache. They never saw the violence, and this is how it's so calculated, because he was brilliant with the kids. Absolutely brilliant with the kids. You know, he would take them out, he would, you know, spend so much time. He was the fun, like, I don't even want to call him a stepdad, but a fun person in his life. And he was a complete monster. And behind closed doors was tearing me apart.
Their mum.
Physically,
how
mentally.
How can you actually take two young, innocent children and take them out and this and that and be doing that to their mum and look your son and your daughter in the eye and do that to you when they're not looking?
Yeah.
To their mum, like, he's a fucking absolute pig.
And that's why I got away. And then I went back.
I went back 3 times.
Yeah, and I went back, but it was actually the smallest thing that I actually left over. Like it wasn't, I know he pushed me into the stairs and that's still bad, but I wasn't really massively hurt. I wasn't, but it was just like that switch in me just...
You couldn't do it for yourself, but you did it for them.
Yeah. Actually, no, at this point, I think when we split up, I was okay because no one knew.
Yeah.
No one knew what was going on. My friends could see a bit of controlling behaviour. They could see...
You never told anyone.
I never told anyone that he'd hit me. People in his family knew.
Yeah.
But none of my friends. And I told them because I knew that if I told people on my side, the relationship was done. They were going to be marching me to the police.
His family might help you.
But I wasn't ready to leave because I was weak. And still at this point, he would say to me, this isn't domestic abuse because I don't come home from work and hit you because I've had a bad day. We do it in arguments. So if you stop talking to me the way you talk to me, if you come off your medication, and every time we had, and it was almost like he knew my cycles because he said to me, I can't be with you anymore because of your hormones. I'm not being with you. He made me come off of my ADHD medication because he said he could not cope with me on my medication. I'm coming off medication that's helping me because I'm feeling like I'm to blame for the abuse. I'm trying to find ways to stop my hormones every month. Because every time that we would have something, and then a week later I'd say, oh, come on, he'd be like, told you. And it's like, well, if you know I'm sensitive and I'm emotional, yeah, because you're too sensitive and you're too emotional. So I spent a year trying to change my natural womanly hormones, trying to come off medication that I so desperately needed, to the point I had to shut, and he never said to me, you've got to shut your online business down. But every single time I posted an outfit, I would get abused, to the point that it would overwhelm me so much that I'd spend my day that I was meant to be doing pictures, arguing with him until I was in such a state. And I was covered in bruises.
Yeah.
My arms, my legs, my face. I've got so many pictures where I've got black eyes, bruises on my noses, my arms and legs covered where he would literally kick me. And the one thing he said when we left is, I never punched her. If I punched her, she'd be dead. And he lived off that. And it was almost like,
oh, right then.
Because he never full-pelt punched me, he slapped me, he hit me with things, he kicked me, he strangled me, he broke my bones. He'd done all of that, but he never full-pelt punched me. And that is the story he lived off. Well, if I punched her, she'd be dead. And it's almost like he'd done it on purpose so that he could turn around. And it's almost like he believed it because he hadn't punched me, spat at me, done everything else, threw hot drinks at me, literally done everything you could imagine, but lived off, well, I never punched her or she'd be dead. I spent my life, coming off ADHD medication, trying to change my hormones to be this person that I was...
your fault.
Yeah, but because he made me believe, and because although this sounds terrible, but when you're in it, in between this, we would still have a laugh. We would still go out. We still had a really passionate life. Desperate to cling on to those good times.
Yeah, you want the nice
and I thrived off them, and I lived off that high low. When we was good, we was amazing, and the second we had an argument, it was violent.
Yeah. And
that's just how I lived, and I believed that it was normal. And every time we got back together, I would say to him, but you need to not be like this, and he'd be like, I know, but a girl like you isn't good for a guy like me. You need to, if you just didn't talk to me like this, and if you didn't behave like this, and if you wasn't like this on social media, and if you didn't do this, I would not be like that.
Do you realise now that it wouldn't have mattered who you were, what you did? Like, I really actually need you to realise that it would never have mattered.
Yeah.
You could have been a nun. Whatever you had ever done, whatever your history, there was nothing, no one would have been right. It's nothing to do with you, what he did. He would have picked, it could have been me, it could have been anyone he was with. You could have been all the things he bullied you for. And it would have been something that you're too boring, you've got no history. It wouldn't have mattered who you were or what you did. He was going to abuse you and do that to you anyway, because that's who he is.
Yeah, and and I know that now. I'm not the first. And had I not have done what I done when I did, I wouldn't have been the last. And
had you have not done what you done when you did, he would have killed you.
Absolutely. And they do say
the time that they're most likely to kill you is when you leave.
Yeah, and there was harassment, and there is so much more to this story which we will go into. on another episode because, you know, I did go back and I carried that weight of going back
The guilt.
for so long because it was, people said to
You went back.
me, you must be lying because why would you go back to that? And I genuinely believed I must like it. I must be, it must be me because I'm going back into
I remember
it.
the first time you told me he was abusive though, you watered it down. You literally were like, am I over exaggerating?
And I still do. When I talk to people, like my sister and stuff, I say, oh, and she goes, do you understand what you're like? I had normalised it so much, I'd kept it so in that I genuinely believed up until very recently, and I'm talking weeks, did I believe that? Yeah. It's only since other things did I believe that I made him that monster.
That's horrible. And even when we did the shoot the other week, you still feel like, so do I, but you still feel like you're lying or exaggerating.
Yeah, I feel like
you feel judged.
And I've almost felt like I didn't end up in hospital, so I'm not a true domestic abuse.
Yeah, and
that's
how
you
feel like it's your fault to some degree. You're still trying to justify. You still, in some capacities, and watching it in you now, think that it was a bit of a tit for tat. And there was, well, I wasn't perfect, or yes, you was. There's absolutely. I've known you for a long time. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You're a human being with good intentions who's doing your best. Yeah. Nothing you've ever done in your life ever will do about you at all. There's nothing wrong with you and nothing about you. Nothing that ever deserves. I think what I learned is that to that level. You're a human being and you're not perfect and no one is, and that's what makes us unique. Yeah. And nothing you ever did deserved what he did to you. Yeah. I know. It's. I think it's a hard one. I think you still processing it now.
Still processing so much. I mean, yeah, I am like my healing journey has been. I was suicidal, literally, and that's how it all came to like a proper light. And when I had to take the steps that I did, because I literally
couldn't live anymore.
I just
couldn't continue.
I was done. What I felt like I was never ever going to be able to get through a day with not feeling how I was feeling and not having the thoughts that I had. But bright days do come, and you know, it's so early on in my process, so early on, and I still find it, you know, the emotional side of it for me is what's been the killer. Like you probably noticed, you know, when I talk about more of the violent side of thing, I can almost ring it off because it's like my body still protects me from actually, you know, feeling that. But when I talk about the psychological and the emotional side of how it's left me, and this is something that we will go into on another episode, but the aftermath of how it has left me and the impact it's had on my life is something I think will genuinely be with me forever. And, you know, I've got amazing tools that I'm learning which help. I thought leaving was going to give me freedom, but actually it's like I started leaving, I started a life sentence of healing and coming to terms with what has actually happened, because I never processed it. Ever did I process it. In fact, I normalised it.
From that? Yeah. You've been tortured. You've been utterly tortured for 2 years. To have actually had that and to be here now, like, you're saying that you're still so deep in your healing journey and everything else, but I've watched you from day one of your healing journey, and the transformation you've taken and like the courage to get up every day and fight, and everything you've done to protect yourself and other women after all of this, and how graceful
and that's the thing for me is I think I don't feel like I've done what I've done, or I'm doing what I'm doing for me. Like, I'm lucky, like you, I've got an amazing support network. I couldn't ask for better friends, I couldn't ask for a better family. And I remember my mum saying to me, well, one of the things, there was two really powerful things, and they said to me, if this was Georgie, what would you be telling her to do? And I remember that literally like struck me. But I also remember my mum saying to me, you have an amazing support network, and the only thing that got me through that was the fact that I had an amazing support network. Like, I had amazing friends that would literally, I mean, how many times would I cry and get it out? I had friends that would literally come around with their dogs and their children and sleep on the floor because I couldn't be on my own. Like, my friends and family were my fucking rocks. And my mum said to me, you have that, but that next person may not. And I knew if I didn't have that, I would have been dead. I wouldn't have made it through. Like, the only thing that got me through that was, and to get to a place where you look at your children and don't want to be here anymore because of what someone else has done to you is something that I never, ever, ever believed someone could make me do. Not someone that I trusted, not someone that
You love.
I just never, ever. It still shocks me to the core, and that is why I'm doing what I'm doing, and we are doing what we're doing, because that next person, they may not have that support network, and all of the things that we have learned, you know, for someone to realise the cycles of what they're in, to someone to realise that it's abuse, whether they beat you because they've had a bad day at work, whether they beat you because you've had an argument, or whatever reason they do it, it's abuse. It's domestic abuse, and it is wrong, and there is no excuse for it, and there is no reason why anyone should ever, ever, ever lay their hand, control you, do any of it. And that is why I am here now. I feel like...
But you're powerful. Like, you're so strong. Like, you're literally sat here talking about things that would destroy anyone, and you're sat here not even a year later. The power coming off of you is incredible. Like,
and there's so many things, like, just to wrap this up, of like, you know, I'm still hearing that it's so hard, you know, family members saying I'm ruining someone's character and I'm doing it because I'm jealous and I don't want them to be with anyone else, and this, that and the other. And it's like,
what you're doing is
I'm doing it to save someone else. This isn't about trying to ruin anyone. It has to change. It has to stop. This cannot continue.
Okay.
And if we are all silent, more and more women are going to end up dead. And if I can take anything from the most horrendous situation I've ever been in and turn that into saving someone's life,
then you will.
Then I will. And I won't let myself or you or anyone go through something so hurtful for nothing to come out of it.
Yeah.
And I will make sure, we will make sure.
We didn't come this far to just come in.
No.
We're not going to suffer that and not
change the world.
Yeah, we are going to change the world. That's what we say all the time.
And
that's so powerful. And you're taking that and you're using it and you're going to change the world.
I hope so.
You are. So I'm going to help you.
Got this together, baby.
Gorgeous. You did.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, guys.
I think it's actually important that we'll probably put some information for some helplines and support in the show notes as well. And if anyone,
you know, our DMs are always open.
Yeah,
we can always advise you into the best places, but
always anonymous as well. Please do reach out.
We are a safe place for you to come to, and if you feel like you haven't got that person, if you are someone that feels like they haven't got a support network,
you can't tell the people around you because you're
please come to us. And you know, we can't.
All
we can do is point you into the right direction and be that safe place and advise you as best we can. But you know, you're not alone. You're never alone, and don't ever give up.
Yeah.